So hello guys, you are most welcome to today's lecture. Now you are seeing the screen as fully blank and white, and the reason for this is that in today's lecture we are not going to study from my notes or the notes which I have. We are rather going to study from your book only, because when I had started this series I had told you in the beginning that if you want any kinds of notes or any kinds of study materials, then you do not need to go here and there buying this, buying that, buying those. You just need to follow your Frank ISC economics books. That is just the one thing which you need to do. Apart from this, there is nothing such a special notes or some special books which you need to follow. You might follow, but I don't recommend any book other than the basic book which you are having. So in today's lecture we are going to be looking at those concepts or those basic concepts of economics which have been given in your second chapter. And as a disclaimer, I am telling you all that this lecture and the forthcoming lectures which are going to come in the next 2 or 3 days, these are going to be the most important lecture of your entire class 11 commerce, or I would say of your class of your economics knowledge only. Why? Because now we are going to learn the basic things, and these things are so much important that even if you don't study other things, but if you are known to these things only, then also you will have quite a basic knowledge of economics. And if you don't know these things, then it will be very difficult for you to understand the things which are complex. Why? Because these are the fundamentals of economics, the basic foundation for the building named economics that we are going to study in the second chapter, and in today's lecture also, and in the lectures which are going to come tomorrow or the forthcoming days. Okay, so before we jump on to our main concepts which we have, there are two major concepts which we need to keep in our mind. Although they are not that much important, but still knowing them is very important. Now we have studied the definition of economics, and I believe that it has been a very boring lecture for you. Why? Because it is basically a philosophical chapter where one author gives his definition, then another author gives his definition. So basically what they thought of economics, what was their perspective of economics, that was what was taught to you in the first chapter, and that is the reason many students find it very boring. But I am guaranteeing you that the economics which we are going to study in today's chapter or in the forthcoming chapters, they are going to be very much interesting. Okay, now the first topic which I need to explain is the types of economics. Now we know that what is economics, so we have known about the various definition of economics, after which we know a basic knowledge of economics. So what is economics? Economics is a social science which studies the economic behavior of individual and the society. It basically answers some economic questions. So this is what we know of economics. But if we talk about the scale of economics, or on what scale is economics studied, so we will come to two things. The first one is what we call microeconomics, and the second one is what we call macroeconomics. We have two types of economics which we can say. One is the microeconomics and one is the macroeconomics. Now what does the word micro mean? The word micro means small and the word macro means large or big. So in the same manner, this study of economics is also based on the study either being micro or being macro. Now what is the meaning of microeconomics? When we study economics on a small scale, then it is known as microeconomics, and when we study economics on the large scale or on the full extent, then it is known as macroeconomics. For example, if we consider our country India, Okay, now India is an economy. Now if we study the economic behavior of India as a whole, then we are studying economics on the highest scale possible. Why? Because now we are talking about each and every economic problem which is taking place in the Indian subcontinent. We are also talking about all the economic behaviors of each and every individual which is living in the Indian economy. So when we study economics of the whole country or on a large scale, we study what we call macroeconomics. But if we just study it on the small scale, like if we take for example Reliance Industries, now if we just study about Reliance Industries, so what we are doing, we are studying only a part of the Indian economy. We are studying only a you can say only a certain percentage of the Indian economy. So basically if we just study about Reliance Industries, then we are only studying one economic unit. So this is what we call microeconomics, means economics on the small scale. Instead if we study about the jute industry or leave behind jute industry, if we just study about the cotton industry of India, so is the cotton industry the full economy which we are talking? Do we only have the cotton industry in our country? It is not so. We have millions of things apart from the cotton industry. So the cotton industry is just a portion of the whole Indian economy. So if we study about the cotton industry, then we are only studying a portion of the whole economy. Therefore this economics will be known as microeconomics. But if we are studying about the whole Indian economy, then we are not leaving anything untouched. We are studying about nearly each and every possible thing. Therefore this will come under the macroeconomics heading. Okay, so hope you just have a basic knowledge of what is microeconomics and what is macroeconomics. Microeconomics simply means the economics which is studied on a small scale, and macroeconomics means the economics which is studied on the large scale. Okay, so this was something which was very important to explain, which was microeconomics and macroeconomics. Now we are coming on the basic concepts of economics. Okay, now in the basic concepts of economics, the first economic concept which we need to explain is want. Okay, now if we talk about the word want, then what do we mean in the normal term? In Hindi we call this as mang or chahat, not that chahat which you are wondering about. We call it as mang, we call it as chahat, we call it as charurat, we call it as in English we call it as need. So simply speaking, the want which we are having in our normal day-to-day language, it is the same want in economics only. What does the word means? What does the word want mean? So the word want means a desire to have something. If we are saying that we are wanting something or we have a want of something, then we are actually having a desire of having something. Like I have a want of 2 glass of waters. Then what is that want basically? I have a desire of having 2 glasses of water. So basically want can be said as the desire to have something. So if you look into your book, then what is the definition of want? Want is an effective desire for a particular thing which can be satisfied by making an effort to acquire it. So if we look at our economic definition of want, then we will come to know that want means a desire of having something, and that desire can be fulfilled by making an effort. Okay, so if we consider want, then we need to focus on two things. Either no, the first thing, that is that we must be having a desire of having something. Like I have a want for 2 glasses of water, then it is my desire to have 2 glasses of water. And the second and most important thing is I should be able to make an effort to acquire it. So these two things are very important to make a want. The first thing is that you must be having a desire to have something, and the second thing is that you must make an effort to acquire that thing. Now a very important thing is over here, that if you only have desire to have something but do not make an effort, then you can't call that thing as a want. Like you might have a desire to have the moon, but can you make an effort to have the moon, or is it practically possible to have the moon? So the answer is no. So want means the desire to have something, but more important than just having the desire, it also includes the making of an effort. You must also make an effort to have that thing. Only having the desire will not do. You must also make an effort. Okay, so if I just want something but I am not doing to get that thing, then that is not a want. Okay, so in economics, want means desire plus effort. Now if we talk about the wants, that how many types of wants do human beings have, so we will come to know about mainly two types of wants, and apart from these two, there are two subheading wants also. So the first kind of want which we would want is the primary want or the basic wants, and the second one is going to be the secondary want. So we have mainly two types of wants. One is the primary want and the second one is the secondary want. Now what is the meaning of primary want and what is the meaning of secondary want? Now the primary wants includes those things which are very necessary for the living of a person. If we don't have these primary wants fulfilled, then we won't be able to live only. Like if we don't get food, then will we be able to survive? The answer is no. If we don't have shelter, then will we be able to survive? The answer is no. So the wants for those goods which are the basic amenities of life or the basic requirements of life, they come under the headings primary wants. Like the want for food, the want for a good home, so that comes under the primary wants. Okay, and after this comes the secondary want. Now what does the word secondary want means? That these are not that much important, although they have a basic role, although they have a role to play, but they are not as much important as the primary want. The primary want means ye to chahiye hi chahiye, but the secondary want means that yes, after the primary wants are satisfied, you might go to the secondary wants. Like for the very survival of you, it is very important that you must get your chapatis, the curry which you have. Apart from that, the bhujia, water means the basic thing. The basic food which we Indian can think of is dal and rice. So this dal and rice, this comes under the primary want. Why? Because if you don't have dal and rice or any other food, you will not be able to survive. So this is what we call primary want. But if we talk about the secondary want, then the best example could be a plate of chicken biryani. Yes, if you don't have a plate of chicken biryani, it is that you won't be able to live? The answer is no. So chicken biryani becomes a secondary want. So you will have two types of want. One is the primary want, which you need at all, at any cost. This want needs to be fulfilled. And the second one is secondary want, which means that after you have after you have gained the primary want, you might have the secondary want. Now the secondary want can also be classified into two headings. You can classify the secondary want also under further two headings. The first one is which you call comfort, and the second one is which you called luxury. Now what is comfort and what is luxury? Both of them fall under the ambit of the secondary want, but comfort means that if you have this, then the life will be more easy. Like if you have a house but if you don't have electricity, so you will face a numerous problems. But if you have electricity, then life will be a bit easier for you. So the house is your primary want and your electricity is the secondary want, but this electricity comes under the comfort head. Why? Because it is necessary, but it will make your life more comfortable. But if you talk about luxury, so these are not required in your life, you don't need them at all, but still some people want them. Why? Because it satisfies their ego. Like you can go from here and there by using a Tata car or by just using a Maruti Suzuki car, but you want to have a Lamborghini. So what is that? That is a luxury. Okay, so having a Tata car is a comfort, and having a Lamborghini car, that is a luxury. Okay, so if we talk about want, then we know what is a want. Want is the desire to have something. Want can be of primary type and secondary type. The primary type means those wants which are very much necessary. If they don't exist, then you won't be able to survive. The example of this is dal and rice, a good home, love and affection of your house people. So this comes under the primary head. But if you talk about the secondary head, yes, you might want them, but they are not that if you don't get, then you won't be able to survive. Further, this secondary want can also be classified as either comfort or luxury. Means you might want something to make your life comfortable, or you might want something to make your life luxurious. Like if you have a Tata car, your life will be comfortable, but if you have a Lamborghini car, your life will be a luxury. Okay, now there are certain characteristics of human wants. Okay, means human wants possess some basic features or some characteristics. So the first from them is wants are unlimited. Yes, and that is the most basic characteristic of a human want, that human wants are unlimited. You had a want, you satisfied that want. After the satisfaction of that want, a new want will arise. Like I wanted a car, I got that car. Now after I got that car, I want a petrol, or I want another model of that car. We see it more often in case of phones. I got a phone, the next month only the brand launch a new model of that phone. I want that phone. After that I got that phone, some months later a new model was launched. I want that phone. You take it in any field of life, you will see that wants are unlimited. They don't have an end. If one want is satisfied, then it gives birth to another want. So wants are unlimited. After this comes is wants are complementary. Means you can complement one want for the other. Okay, now complement means that when one means complement means that two wants can exist together. Like if you want a car, then you will also create a want for petrol. So the want for a car automatically creates the want for petrol. Therefore these two wants are complementary. These two wants are staying together in a simultaneous manner. Okay, so this is what we call complementary wants. Like if I want if I want a pen, then I will also be wanting ink. Okay. Now if I want food, then I will also be wanting then I will also be wanting water. So wants can be complementary also. Okay. After this comes are the wants can be substituted. Now what does this mean? Now what does this mean? It means that if you want one type of want, so you can skip that type of want and satisfy your desire by another type of want. Like for example, if you are thirsty and you want a cold drink, and you went to the shop for a want of Coca-Cola, you wanted Coca-Cola, but when you arrive at that shop, they tell you that they only have Pepsi, so you can drink that Pepsi also. So this means that your want of Coca-Cola that can be substituted by the want of a Pepsi. Okay, so wants can be substituted. After this, the another characteristic is that wants are competitive. Now what does this word competitive mean? Competitive means that the wants also remain in a state of competition. Means each and every want has a type of preference attached to it. Like if you are on a road and for example your let us not take that example. For example, if you are made to choose between for example, if you are very hungry, so some people come and they make you choose between food and games. So what are you going to choose? You have a want for both of them. You want to play also and you want to eat also. But if they give you an option to choose one of them, either you can eat or you can play, so what are you going to choose? So you are naturally going to choose to eat. Why? Because the games can be played afterwards also. So wants are competitive also. One want can compete with the other want. Okay. After this comes is wants multiply. This is basically an extension of the point that wants are unlimited, and this is very true that wants multiply over time, and that is very much known to us. Like when we were a child, our wants were very limited. When we became 5 years old or 6 years old, we got to school, we wanted books, we wanted pencils, and after that when we got to class 11 and class 12, we want coaching from this institution, we want coaching from this institution, we want tuition for this subject, we want a lot of books. Afterwards, when you will go to college, you will have more wants. So the main thing about wants is that they multiply over time. Okay. Afterwards is wants recur. Now what does the word wants recur means? Now this means, just a second, the next one is wants recur. Now what does the word recur means? It means that it is not that if one want is satisfied, then you won't have the same want again in life. It is not like that. For example, you woke up in the morning, you had a want for breakfast. Now is it so that by taking breakfast only today morning, you won't need to take breakfast in any upcoming mornings? It is not so. If you took breakfast today, you will take the same breakfast tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So it is not that wants occur only once, but they recur. They happen again and again over a periodic period of time. Okay. After the next one is that although we cannot satisfy all the wants, but we can satisfy a single want. Means if you have a lot of wants, then at one time only one want can be satisfied. You cannot satisfy all the wants simultaneously. If you want to satisfy all the wants, in that case also you will have to satisfy the first want, then the second want, then the third want, and so on. You cannot satisfy each and every want at the same time, at the same place. Only one want can be satisfied at one moment. Okay, after this is that some wants can be postponed. Like some wants are very much like some wants are very much what should I say, like some wants are very much required, but some wants can be postponed. You can postpone one want for the other want. Like if you want to, like as I told you, this point is similar to the point of competitiveness. Like one want and the other want, if those two occur at the same place, then you can postpone one want for the other want. Okay, like if you what should I say, like if you had a dream of buying a car only, okay, and you thought that afterwards, after saving a lot of money, you will buy the car, but tomorrow only your computer or your TV got damaged and you need to purchase a new and you need to purchase a new TV. Now you have want of both of them. You have a want for a car as well as for the TV also, but you can postpone the want of the car for a certain period of time. After that you can satisfy the want for the car, but the TV is an immediate want. Okay, and after this the next one is wants differ in their urgency. Now what is the meaning of this? It is also in the same manner as we had in the competitive one. Like one want can be very much important and the other want can be less important. Like you saw in the previous example, we had a want for car also, and at the same time we had a want for the television also, but the television want, that is much more necessary, that is much more urgent. Okay, and the last one and the most important feature of want is that wants remain ahead of availability of goods and services. This means that no matter how much goods and services or how much resources we have, our wants are always going to be in excess of what we are having. It means that जेब में 5 रुपए हैं लेकिन खरीदना चाहते हैं 100 रुपए का. So the same thing is in the case of wants also. The natural resources which we are having, we always have a want in excess to that. For example, if we have 500 kgs of rice, then our want will always be for 800 kgs or 1000 kgs of rice. So this is a very important feature of want, that wants are always in excess to the available resources. Okay, after this so this was all with the want, the first basic concept of economics. That what is want? Want is the desire to have something which can be fulfilled by making an effort to acquire it. Like we have a want for a glass of water, so we can make an effort and fulfill our want. And a very important thing to remember over here is that we can only call that desire a want which can be fulfilled. Like if we want to have the whole universe in our hands, so although we might have a desire, but this is not practically possible. Okay, after that we saw the types of wants, which is mainly primary wants, and the next one is secondary wants. Primary means we need it as the most urgent, and secondary means it is not that much important or not that much urgent, but if we have, then life will be more easy. So in this case also we have two types, comfort and luxury. Comfort means these are required to make life much more easier, and luxury means these are not required at all, but just to satisfy ego we want these things. And after that we saw the various characteristics of wants. Now after this we come to a very important concept, and that is consumption. Okay, what is consumption? Now if we talk in the normal language, then consumption means to eat something. Like we say, I consumed one packet of chips, so this is what we call consumption. But in economics we do not take consumption as just eating. In economics, consumption means all those activities which are related to the use of goods and services. Like in an economy, goods and services are produced. So if we are using those goods and services, then that is called consumption. In normal language, consumption means to eat something. But in economics, consumption means to use the goods and services produced. It means that if we are using a computer, then we cannot eat that computer. So in normal language we might not call that as consumption. But in case of economics, using a computer is also called as consumption. Why? Because in economics it is not eating which is consumption, it is the use which is consumption. So since we are using the computer, therefore it becomes a consumption. In the same manner, if Shah Rukh Khan comes to my home and performs for me, so I am not eating anything or I am not using any goods, but still I have enjoyed his performance, so that means I have used his performance. So in economics, consumption means use of goods and services. If we use goods and services, then it means that we are consuming those goods and services. Okay, so this is what we call consumption in case of economics. Okay, now apart from consumption, okay, leave this behind, we do not need to talk about this as of now. We only need to know that consumption means the usage of goods and services by the normal households. After that, there is a very important concept which is the utility one, but I won't explain it today because that will take a considerable amount of time. So we are moving ahead to the next basic concept, which is production. We talked about consumption, which is the use of goods and services, and now if we talk about production, then that is also similar to the same thing. Just a second. If we talk about production, then production means the making of goods and services. Making of goods and services, that is known as production. So what is consumption? Consumption means using the goods and services. And what does production means? Production means making those goods and services. So consumption and production, these are two opposite things. Consumption means to use and production means to make those things. Okay, and after this I believe the other ones are also very important and they will also take a long time. So it is better that I do not continue. Rather, I would pause at this moment. We will talk about the other concepts in the upcoming lectures. Okay, so I stop my lecture over here. We'll see you in another lecture. Hope what I taught today was helpful to you. If it is helpful, then do like the video, do subscribe, do share the video, and if you have any doubt, you can comment it down in the comment section. Okay, so we'll see you in another video. Till then, do take very good care of yourselves. Have a very nice day. Take care of yourself. Bye bye. Jai Hind.